Hello and welcome back to Game Soup with Chloe and Kayla. This is a game design podcast where we throw ideas in a pot and see what's cooking. Hi Chloe, have you missed me since a week ago when I didn't disappear anywhere?
I have missed you since you disappeared a week ago.
I've
been quiet in soup offices. I've been sat on my own.
Yeah, just every now and then, like turning the blender on just to feel something.
Yeah. Stirring the dead cauldron in the middle of our office.
I'm back from holiday. I am still kind of, I guess, physically tired, even though I had a very good holiday. Did I do as much writing as I necessarily thought I'd do? No, I did write out the rules for the football match mechanic in Asphodel FC and did a go at writing like a sort of premise up, which at first I was talking to Laurie and I was like, I worry this came across as too complicated. It was like, you've got it down to 4 paragraphs. And I was like, oh, right, yeah, no, this isn't too much information and too short a thing. It's succinct.
Yeah.
I'm rebranding. It's succinct. It's succinctly conveyed. I didn't get around to play testing that card mechanic, but that is because that's a 1v1 thing. That is kind of the easiest play test. I can definitely badger someone into playing a card game versus me.
Yeah.
Even on the streets if necessary. My new profile picture on stuff is from holiday, but otherwise there was a coffee shop I saw that I want to talk about the name of. I also had an interaction that I shared on Instagram but didn't share on other social media, because with other social media I worried without the tone of voice and other stuff, people would react to me going, oh my god, Kayla, I'm so sorry, and I couldn't be bothered to deal with this.
I'm not on Instagram, so tell me.
You haven't seen this at all, yes.
No.
So when I went out onto one place, so an interesting is basically everywhere I went in Lithuania, I believe, other than a single thing, when we watched Eyes Wide Shut in a palace, everything was free for me because things are just free if you are disabled.
Pretty good.
It's a pretty good deal. It's I guess counterbalanced by how accessible are all the things that are free.
Yeah.
Sometimes
you can't
I
get
found
in,
a lot
but
of
it is free.
No, I mean, I found a lot of accessible things. It was sometimes hard to find the information, but honestly,
yeah,
Birmingham was harder in terms of accessibility things.
Oh, well, there you go.
Still a bit angry about how harsh environmentally Birmingham was. But for one of these things I went to, a person looked at me, and to be clear before I go into it, there was a language barrier, which is why I just find this interaction funny in a way I obviously wouldn't if someone was a fluent English speaker. So they were just asking after a while, like, do you have an invalid card? To be clear, not like is your card broken? Just have you got a card proving your status as an invalid?
You faking?
I was like, no, foreign. I don't even know if there is such a thing as an invalid card, or whatever that would actually translate, maybe more accurately and sensitively to in Lithuania. But yeah, it's. I also worry it's going to get really badly stuck in my head as a thing I can't stop saying because of how much it cracked me up. I'm worried I'll get a freedom pass and be like, oh no, it's fine, I don't need to pay for this train, I've got the invalid card. People are going to be like, can you stop saying that? And I'm like, are you trying to censor a disabled one?
That's ableist, actually.
Yeah. Nowhere else asked for a card. Which, to be fair, is also a thing. Obviously, even here, a lot of the time, you get your companion goes free.
Yeah. The CEA card at work, it's the care that goes free rather than the person being cared for, so...
Yeah, that's how that works. But obviously, if you were me as a child, you offer to split the price of a single ticket with your mate.
Yeah.
That is usually is. You sometimes will get disability-related concessions, but then otherwise it's like the free thing, or more often, goes to the companion, assistant carer, whatever it's labelled as on a thing. When I went, I was getting once, it was labelled as essential ambulatory companion. It's like this, and so occasionally I have referred to my boyfriend as my essential ambulatory companion. It's a phrase that sticks in my mind amusingly. Some places are a bit like sticky about it. Some it's like, oh yeah, if you're booking 2 tickets and you have a carer, they're both half price. And I'm like, this feels like that just feels a bit. You've really restricted it more in a way. Even here, sometimes they will be like, we may require proof of disability. But obviously, if you show up in a wheelchair or even with any kind of mobility aid, they're not going to then ask to check. Because at the point they're asking to check they're no longer making sure people aren't like taking advantage. They're just seeing if they can be a dick to someone without the correct paperwork. Whereas obviously with invisible disabilities, they might ask for a thing. I'm not sure how much they even would, but like, in theory, they might ask. Sometimes you can combo this stuff though. Like if you're on universal credit, your ticket is reduced to £1. If you are disabled, your care is there. Then you go to something that should have cost 20, 30 quid and it costs you £2. And that makes you a brilliant date.
A cheap date,
that's my
anyway.
little sidetrack. A brilliant date, cheap date. Are those different? Do those phrases have different meanings?
Well, I don't know. You can have a good date that's expensive, you know?
Oof, can't relate.
Oh, wow.
I'm also such a cheap date to take me out to a meal, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's, you're not breaking the bank on hors d'oeuvres. But speaking of
hors d'oeuvres,
on my way back, one of the last things we did on the last day was did a little like coffee crawl, which was cute. But when in Vilnius, I was getting a coffee from just a place in a bus station. And the name of the coffee place was Baristocracy. It's spelled with like an O and a K, but otherwise I'm like, this is the same word. I think this is presumably also a pun in Lithuanian. Just the composite words must be close enough. I'm also getting it. I don't believe it was any kind of different thing. And my immediate reaction was, I want to make a game where the Baristocrat can be a class.
Yeah. You sent me this earlier in the week, and I have been mulling it over a little bit, which is against the spirit of the pod. But
well, your initial reaction was, "Oh, I think it's a cozy game," and my gut reaction to that, but then I was like, "Let's talk about more on the pod." Was just like, "No, I really don't think it is." But have you had any elaborate thoughts?
A competitive cozy game where you have like your different. So you're all in a little Stardew Valley village, and you have the coffee shop, and you have the grocers, and I don't know, the bar, and I can't think of a fourth thing that there might be.
I've not played Stardew Valley, but I've played some management sim games, but not many.
Yeah, and it's like you're trying to run your coffee shop or whatever the best, while also trying to run the other people out of business. It's not very cozy at all, but
so it's an anti-cozy game almost, where it's saying like, yeah, these small business owners aren't, all in this together, helping each other. They are exploiters.
Yeah, we live near each other, but we are not a community. Yeah.
I could see the fun of that almost maybe as an art piece where you're writing a lot of games and mechanics where it's like, this is not necessarily like a nice thing to play against each other. You're more, I guess, almost inventing like a war game or worker sim thing with all of the aesthetics of coziness, but with like a really cold, cynical heart underneath.
Because a couple of years ago, I had this idea for like a board game sort of style thing where you're running competing cinemas and you have to like book different films in and like slot them into your time schedule and stuff. And like there'd be random modifiers like, oh, certain film is really popular this week or whatever. And like you have to get the most money at the end of the thing, but then you have to spend money to get different films in or whatever else. Like you have to hire people from like a random pool of workers. So yeah, I think like a competitive coffee shop thing where it's like, oh, you've got to like buy coffee grounds and like, oh, you can grow your own, but it's slower than whatever, and like you got to hire workers from the local thing, and it's like, oh, maybe there's like espionage where like you can send one of your workers to get a job at another place, like sabotage them, and
I felt because this is fun as an art piece game, but my immediate sort of thing I kept thinking was like, but how is this a role playing game and not just like a board game? Which is, I feel,
yeah, this is a
more
board
what
game.
we've. Well, my idea then was like, oh, maybe it's called the Baristocracy, and specifically, it's like, yeah, you are an amount of coffee shops almost on a mile. And one of you is like, it's maybe set like, yeah, it takes a lot of cozy aesthetics, but also it maybe takes some like fantasy stuff where you're specifically social climbers who are currently, petit bourgeois, small business owners and are trying to become almost like a chosen by the nobility to be part of the baristocracy.
Yeah.
So as well as the worker management sim and simulation like management sim stuff, you also then get these maybe almost like galas of the baristocracy.
Yeah.
And that's where it gives you these almost like the interlude more like free-formy improv scenes within that. But I do think you do like parody and take a lot of cozy aesthetics. I feel you are like animal people and all specifically cute animals while also being like arch capitalists.
Yeah. It's
I
like
think this
very
is a
Animal
game
Crossing
about
on the box, and like, oh, we're all sitting behind a cafe counter and we're grinding our own beans, and it's all locally sourced or like, what do you call it, ethically sourced. But it is like, no, we are exploiting these people.
I don't think it's ethically sourced at all. I think
You
it's
say it's ethically sourced, but like you are trying
yeah,
to
I
get
mean,
the most money out of your.
Yeah, I think there's probably some interesting things there. This is a fun game we have pitched on the podcast form. My guys, I'm like, I couldn't be bothered to write this game.
There's this board game I like called what is it called? Bargain Quest, where you run magic item shops for adventurers, and you have to like put things in your window to like entice them into your shop. And like there's a drafting phase for like the different items that you get. I think this could be like a decent like hack of that. Like, oh, we're drafting different coffee beans and whatever, and we have to like entice like, I don't know, random tourists and whatever. I don't know.
I think we've got a lock on this version of the idea, which we can call the baristocracy in this
Yeah.
game. I am once again thinking about like what is this? What is a game which justifies the baristocrat being a class? What other classes would need to go alongside it, and what would it be maybe away from a cozy game sphere, either in parody or actuality?
I think in another world there's a version of Psycho Dungeon where your different classes are your day jobs. And so you have the barista, you have the shop worker, you have the gas pumper, whatever. And then these translate into different skills in the dungeon. So it's like the barista is the healer. The gas pumper sort of buffs. Whatever else. Like the chef is good with knives. I don't know.
I get what you mean. I feel like it would actually not necessarily be a version of Psycho Dungeon because of how much Psycho Dungeon relies on your job as being a psycho plumber. But
yeah.
What I was wondering is like, what if this is a thing where it's like is there something with Baristocrat being someone who has almost like coffee magical powers?
Yeah.
Maybe it's something about like different brews being able to summon different things. This is maybe once again me pitching a wacky modern fantasy game.
Yeah. Have you ever read Legends and Lattes?
No, it really doesn't seem like my kind of thing.
It's not good. It's
I was trying
written,
to be neutral,
but extremely liberal. Let's say that.
Oh right, yeah, that's fair enough. I was being diplomatic in terms of me going like, I really don't think I'd like this. Though also, to be fair, I don't really read fantasy.
Yeah. It's just like they have this whole fantasy setup, and we have the gnomish made coffee machine and everything, and then they don't like make magic coffees. It's like, what's the point?
Yeah, that seems really not my thing. I just suddenly thought of a thing where I was like, obviously, but barista necessarily implies like this is your job usually, but it doesn't necessarily have to. Like, it could just be like, people who are like really passionate about their own coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah, like in terms of the stuff they make at home. I'm like, maybe this is the thing. Maybe this is a game where your classes are built around like the things you're a fucking nerd about, and then they're all just slightly punny titles on that. Like the Baristocrat more just because like, oh, that's a funny title that implies you can then do some weird magic with it. Like maybe it has a bit of a sort of phonogram influence. How there it's like, oh, it's maybe this is some kind of setting where like sufficient passion about a thing can lead to that being some kind of magical power.
Yeah.
And then maybe it's playing in that kind of space, whether it's with like, I guess, almost some different classes, and then maybe
like
it
an
involves
artist can summon things they draw.
Yeah, a cinephile. And then, like, I'm almost trying to think of some other puns, but I can't get off the top of my head. Like, cinephilofax or something is able to, like, conjure images. Doesn't necessarily need to be conjuring. Maybe then... Ooh, now I've actually just thought of an interesting idea that does bring this a bit back into work, but I think could maybe then be more in its sort of interesting interplay between passion and trying to turn your own passions into things that you enjoy, and whether that like could corrupt the passion, which could affect your ability to do magic, is whether maybe you are groups of people who are essentially like party planners, and you have your own like magic skills, which means like, okay, the Baristocrat is going to be responsible for the drinks, the cinephile, like you're not even party planners, that's maybe too specific, you're like part of an event organizing team, specifically you are magical powered, your magic is based on the things you're passionate about, and so to some extent it's like, okay, how are we making a successful party using our magical skills together, but also how do we maintain our passion for the things we care about, because if that starts to waver, our magic disappears.
This might be My Little Pony, I think.
I feel sometimes I pitch an idea and you immediately kill my enthusiasm for it by saying, I think this is this other thing that I've either not necessarily heard about, or I don't even see the link about. And I'm often just like, okay, I don't know why I fuck them.
I like the idea, and it's sort of, you don't want capitalism to sort of fuck up your enthusiasm for a thing. Like, you don't want throwing parties to become your job. You want to do it for fun because you enjoy doing it, not because you have to.
See, I think throwing parties is inherently work, so that would always be it. But I mean, the stuff you do in it, if you like have a passion for mixed drinks or baking elaborate cakes or stuff, or even like decorating and the art and that, it's then like, okay, yeah, it's nice that I'm doing something I enjoy as part of my job. What if that takes away enjoying it? It's kind of the witch playbook in Psycho Dungeon is about that fear. It's almost like blowing that up into a thing where it's like the fear specifically, if the fear comes true, that is damaging your ability. Like, it's, I guess, in a big way about a fear of burnout.
Yeah.
How is it My Little Pony? I'm fascinated.
Because they all have magic powers that are dependent on their passions.
I think lots of things have that. Or
Oh, well.
Stuff.
There you go, She-Ra. Like, how about that? Is that better?
It's like, I mean, I'm also like, Green Lantern, is that?
But all their passions is willpower. Yeah.
Well, I mean, how they make stuff is all about that, and obviously if their will is dead, that it impacts their... I think an emotional-based power thing is not so specific to either My Little Pony or stuff that it's like, you can't do this idea in
I'm not saying you
other
can't
form.
do it.
But I also don't even think you need to say, oh, it's like, I don't think I'd need to advertise this to people as like My Little Pony. Unlike how, say, Psycho Dungeon people are like, oh, it's like Persona, even though I don't know that. Did you have any ideas you wanted to share while we've been off? Because we're getting closer to wrapping up, but...
Yeah, I'm sure I sent you something.
I'm not sure you did.
Oh no, I didn't. Huh?
That's fine. I think we mostly. Well, I was away, so we weren't actually chatting that much.
No. Thank you for listening to Game Soup. Bit of a weird ending.
No, wait!
Oh, no.
Stop! I had other things to do.
Okay,
Don't
my
take
bad.
us out of here. That's fine. I was just like, whoa! I was just asking before I moved into my wrap up, but I had.
Well, go ahead, sweetheart.
I was just gonna say, speaking of like Asphodel FC, which I was talking a bit about earlier, I
Yeah.
have a new blog post up now, which is using basically a really extended football analogy, and specifically about all of the different sports of the football, just to kind of make an argument of me thinking that like TTRPGs constitutes almost like multiple overlapping mediums, and why I think that's interesting, but also why I think all of those are still TTRPGs, even if they're not really even speaking the same language anymore. And also with that, I'm trying out something new where I'm doing audio versions of my blog posts to release alongside them. And I am aware this does technically make me a woman of free podcasts, and I do understand that people are allowed to shoot at me in the street because of this. However, it's important to remember that if you miss, I'm allowed to shoot back. So you can find my blog at like blog.ratwave.uk. If I enjoy doing this habit, it might get its own podcast feed. That was my out. I had a plug that I needed to get out. Do you want to take us out now, Chloe?
I actually have another
Wait, no,
plug
you have
to
a plug.
do.
You have a plug.
Yeah. We're launching.
You're lucky I stopped you.
We're launching a Kickstarter for A Hunt for the Bitter Cold. It's done really well at conventions, so we thought let's do a proper print run of it. Get some nice art in there. Yeah, analog roguelike survival horror. It's good.
Yeah, I
Promise.
think we've talked about Bitter Cold probably before on the podcast. Just
Probably,
when we've done
yeah.
some Conrad recaps and stuff. But yeah, no, it's a really fun game. It is like it's a bit of a sleeper hit for you two.
Yeah,
you know?
it took a while to get going, but at UKG it kind of popped off and we sold out. So
But also, it did really well at Tabletop Scotland last year. Every time it was the thing to pitch to people who said they weren't straight up TTRPG fans.
yeah, because it kind of blends like board game style with just being sort of a role playing game.
Yeah,
kind of a card game. But yeah, it's based on the fight card system from Transcendent Deathmatch Legend. It's good, promise.
yeah. Aren't you glad I let us linger in the podcast for longer? I kept us in the zone, in the liminal space, in the liminal space between ending and not ending the podcast. I kept us alive. Now, thank you for listening to Games.
Thank you.
See you next week.